Hello and welcome to the Uncuckables for another week. I'm Tim Wilms, Editor-in-Chief of The Unshackled. I'm here always in the studio with the editor of XYZ, David Hiscox.
Great to be here, Tim.
Now, I've just noticed it right away. You've never worn this shirt before. It's a green shirt. You've messed up the bunker.
I messed up the bunker by bringing in green. I'm reclaiming one of my favourite colours from those wankers.
So if you get basically a seizure from this show tonight, it's Dave's fault.
Is that what it is?
You're missing...
I was wondering why he was doing that.
Tim, you're missing the T-shirt. Like, if ever you're going to wear our favourite T-shirt, it should be tonight.
Which T-shirt are you talking about?
The Pinochet T-shirt.
Look, I don't want to get the helicopters out too quickly.
No, let's get them out preemptively. Yeah.
I'm showing restraint. And who's that guy in the corner, in the middle of the screen in that photo frame? Who are you?
Who am I? I have no idea. Who am I?
Yeah, who is this guy?
That's uncommon that you don't know who you are or you haven't got much to say for yourself.
I just forgot who I am for a moment.
This is going to be a long live stream.
Now, I'll get us set up on Entropy. We are definitely live, but for some reason the live stream's not showing up in my feed and the audience
usually takes a couple of minutes.
Yes, but we have got a few people with us, though I can't read your comments yet.
Oh, here we go. We're in.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Make sure, Boomer Tech, you've muted it.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Dave, I was wondering why you were glowing when I was looking at the camera before the show started. I'm like,
it's because I'm golden.
That's weird. Like, from my end, it actually looks like you're wearing a grey shirt, and I'm like,
yeah,
that's
I'm
interesting.
looking
Maybe
at the
he's
reflection.
got like green sparkles on it, or something like that.
Yeah.
But you're actually wearing a green shirt.
It's like that meme. There was that meme with the dress. Like, some people saw blue and some people saw yellow. Like, I'm wearing a green T-shirt, but it looks grey to me as well.
You'd think with YouTube, with all their algorithms and everything like that, they'd be able to, as soon as you go live, everyone can just tune in like they can on Facebook, but for some reason there's always this delay.
It's the current year, YouTube, come on.
What were you going to say before I interrupted you?
Me?
Yeah.
He's just going to crap on him or something.
I don't know.
Maybe I was right.
I was waiting for my esteemed introduction, but you're just like, who are you?
Ladies and gentlemen, Matty's Modern Life, one of the best YouTubers in Australia.
And you're on every other media platform except Facebook and Twitter.
I'm on Twitter.
I thought you said you weren't on Twitter.
I might have a Twitter account.
Oh, is there another?
But it's not a public one.
Is there another truth troll? Is there another truth bot?
No, not the
truth bot. Is it a Russian bot? Is it a Russian or Iranian bot?
No, it's an English night. This one is.
Okay, nice.
So I've set us up on Entropy. I've put the link in there, the chat. So please join us over there. Everyone's making their way over now.
Yeah, good. Hey, so the poll in Entropy should be like, what's more important, David and Matty's entertaining tangents or covering every single news story?
Well, there's a lot to. Well, it's a themed episode. These episodes are always themed as much as we
cover
can.
The theme, but you know,
it is Tim's show, David. Come on, mate.
Well, I'm the producer, but it's a joint production.
Yeah, people tune in for the tangents. People tune in for the tangents.
But
we have good tangents on our show anyway. People like the tangents on our show. They seem to fit because our tangents are always circles. They always fit the narrative.
Yeah. We like to deliberately send each other on tangents. Yeah.
Yes, but
you like to send me on tangents.
Yeah.
I still like all of your reactions to the news because often, like, I do the research for the show and then you just react.
It is like a reaction video. Yeah.
But the first bit of news that we're going to talk about tonight, because rape culture is ever present. And David Hilton wrote about this on the XYZ. There was some St Kevin's College Boys, which is a private boys' school in Melbourne, some year 10, 11 boys on a tram. They decided to sing really loudly. Do you want me to say it?
How about we do it together? I think it would make more sense if we do it as a chant.
All right.
Yeah, have you got it there, Matty, as well?
Then it'll just have to be a duet between me and Dave.
Okay, let's pretend, we'll try to amplify.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
I wish that all the ladies were holes in the road, and if I was a dump truck, I'd fill them with my load. That's magnificent. It's pretty tame, you got to say. It's pretty tame. I remember going. There was one footy trip when we were in the bus, and there was a chick walking past. All of us guys in the bus, somebody yelled out, "Fill her up!" She was perfectly fine. The bus kept going.
That's the thing. People are so precious these days. One idiot puts a video up on Twitter, and it's like, oh man, look, this is a thing. Let's pay attention to this. Who cares? Some kids were singing a dirty chant on a bus. Come on, how is that even half newsworthy? It's not even close to newsworthy.
People, the alt-right Australia needs to get making the memes. We need to just get a picture of a hot chick, say "hole in the road."
Yeah, just provoke them. It's what else? Why not? That's what I say. Why not just find their holes and just poke? Because if you poke them on
chick,
purpose,
huh?
and it's like, hey,
chick, find their holes and poke.
So David Hilton is actually...
I'll tell you a story on
Monday.
Yeah. Off camera, David. Remind me about that, and I'll tell you a funny story.
I'm intrigued, Matty, yeah.
Oops.
What is it, Tim? Tim wants to say something.
Yes, I was going to put the entropy link in the chat, and I'm going to do it again. Yep, all good.
Hey, everyone, get on entropy. It's awesome. Get on entropy and ask questions. Don't ask things that'll lewd Neil and the rest of you. And get on entropy and send Tim a donation, because he's putting a lot of work to put the show in, and send him a donation because he needs shekels. Look at him. He obviously needs shekels.
What are you implying that I look like? I look disheveled or something?
Me? Well, I know. I'm just saying you need shekels. Everyone needs shekels.
So obviously with all the super chats you've been eating a lot of white pizzas with that, by the look of you, and you're drinking white liquid.
Yeah. I greatly appreciate all the support that we get. It's great to know people that support your work. And the thing is, super chats are so much fun because you can put them on end, you put them up there, and you make people say almost whatever you want. I don't know. I love reading out some of the even the really bad ones. I do my best to read them.
Just finding a creative way to not get banned.
Yes, that's what I've started doing, because on Trans Tasman Talk on Tuesday evening, I was getting a lot of super chats from a notorious Kiwi alt writer, and I was
we had him on Monday as well.
We had him. He sent us a few shekels.
Yeah, so I was able to reinterpret his super chats to fit in with the YouTube community. What are they? Community guidelines, community safety, or whatever you call it.
They're arbitrary rules which only get applied to the right-wing people. Yeah, that's what it's called. Yeah,
pretty much.
It's interesting, Mark Collett, because you two are big fans of him, so I've started to watch a bit of him. It's interesting that sort of how he manages it all. He does sort of his hardcore stuff on BitChute, and then does certain things on YouTube so he can get super chats through.
It seems to be the way.
Entropy.
That's how you get people in. I always like to think back to the first interview I did with Matty. And in that interview, Matty sort of says to me, is XYZ alt-right? And I'm like, no, but we both kind of expressed this fascination about what it all was. It was this mysterious thing all the way over there that like just held all these little bundles of truth. So like if we keep pushing this idea, we say what we really think over on BitChute. That's how you get people in. The curious will come in.
Yeah,
is
that
it?
And I've found some awesome content on BitChute. There's actually a video I need to watch. Been saving it. It's called the Not So Chosen People, and that's I can't actually read the channel name out because it's inappropriate. But think about what kind of channel name would be associated with that title. And I found him on BitChute because he was banned on YouTube, and it's awesome. There's so much good content over there, and now Red Ice TV's over there, and Alex Jones is over there if you want to be entertained by his rants. All the cool content is on BitChute pretry much. I mean, there's still some decent content on YouTube, and the service streams a bit cleanly, and the audience is here. But there's so much good content over on BitChute if you want something new and different.
Is that where you found Entropy from Mark Collett, or did you? Because I thought you discovered it all by yourself. Obviously not.
No,
yes.
Mark Collett did a stream, and I've seen it. I'm like, whoa, that's fantastic! Like, holy crap! Because we were waiting to get to 1,000 subs to get monetized, and you don't need 1,000 subs to be monetized. You can just stream. It's fantastic.
Well, Mark Collett, he's nearly got 100,000 subs, so I don't know why he's using Entropy. Maybe he just doesn't want to give Google a cut.
He does use Entropy.
But
Neil Erickson sent him a super chat.
Yes, I heard about that. Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
Now I want to go back to, because this was a good tangent. I enjoyed this one. I have to, if I must say so.
What do you got for us, Timmy?
Yes, so going back to David Hilton's
right, we were talking about that
article. Yes, so
I thought the whole point of these articles was so that we could just launch on a tangent and not come back to the article.
Yes, so it was filmed by some woman in Melbourne called Melanie or Schmelanie. She
very mature to me.
She went on Melbourne radio, I think it was ABC radio, said, you felt there was no respect for women. You felt that you couldn't say anything, and if you did, I think you'd be really concerned about what might happen next.
Maybe they might come up with a more crude chant, yeah.
But like, a year 10 and 11 private schoolboys, I mean, they're not going to turn into a rape flash mob.
No. The irony is that if a woman had stood up, like I think David pointed out, like in yesteryear, like there would have been a woman who would have stood up and scolded them, and they would have like gone red. It's like just stop. Everybody's stop being so precious. They're boys. They're they're believing their own scare tactics here.
And it's just obscene that we're even discussing this. Like, who gives a crap? What? Yeah. Why does that even matter? Why is that an issue at all? And when there's actual problems, but this is what the media's job is to do these days, just distract people.
Yeah. These boys are just lucky there was no Indian with a little drum there, huh?
Yeah.
They were white. We should note these were white schoolboys.
Yeah, and that's half the point. Yeah. That's half the point.
Exactly.
The boys responsible for the chant, they got suspended, and the principal issued an apology. And there was some St. Kevin's old boy who said that this is part of wider society's problem. Obviously, he just wanted to get his name into the mainstream media to say, I want to do some projection.
Yeah, it's like everybody just knows what to say. Yeah.
Yeah, these kids are hilarious. We should get them to start doing the chants at school. That'd be funny as.
We could get them to do some XYZ chants.
Full-on protest. Yeah. Full-on protest.
I noticed because I was reading a Channel 7 story about it, and it said that Channel 7 has chose not to publish the chant, protect our feelings.
People might be triggered.
The mainstream media are a joke. They're a joke. They're running on past reputation. People who, I don't know how people still watch that crap. It's just ridiculous.
So the lesson is don't be tempted to fill in holes with liquid.
I think that is the moral of the story. Yeah.
Well, it only really appeared in the ABC, just on ABC News, or was it actually on like TV? Did they do news stories about it?
Oh no, it was picked up by all the major media outlets. I mean,
really? Because I only saw it on the ABC. Really?
ABC they get the most triggered, of course.
Oh, can you believe it?
If somebody really wanted to do a really good troll, they could actually get a dump truck and park it outside of the ABC.
They'd probably call the police or something.
Oh yeah.
Mm. Yeah. But what about free speech? Maybe if we superglued ourselves to the ABC, it's ours. We're going to.
Guys, next Thursday is Halloween.
Oh yes.
And you've got a printer there, so I think Tim should print off a bunch of "It's Okay to Be White" posters, and maybe a few other slightly more edgy posters, and then join in the festivities.
You've just, if I was to hypothetically do that, you've just suggested that tonight, and so that if there is a whole bunch of "It's Okay to Be White" posters around this area, then they're going to come here.
No, you're just a decoy. See what we did there? You're the decoy. You're the decoy.
Yeah.
Because Sarah Hanson-Young called in the police because apparently there were razor blades under the "It's Okay to Be White" posters in Adelaide. Oh, did you hear today that Adelaide has stolen Perth's title as the meth capital of Australia?
Gee.
Mm. So there you go.
There you go.
The meth capital of Australia.
Mm.
Well, there's something to be proud of, isn't it?
Well, yes. I suppose so. There was a lot of... I saw a few Perth lads who were quite upset about that.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's just... Look at what's happening to our country. That there's this meth... This affliction, but it's just a symptom of the wider problem, It's the symptom of everything else that we talk about. The spiritual malaise that has overcome the West.
Now, I want to follow up on speaking. We're going to focus on male discrimination, or to erase, it's to erase male biology and masculinity as because if we are going to separate sex and gender, then the male biological sex is under attack, and so is the gender identity. Some people will probably tell me off for that term, but I spoke about
you're using
this,
the terms of the enemy, Tim.
Yeah.
So what are we supposed to say? Because I just interchange them because I thought they were both the same.
Yeah. So
I try to avoid using the word gender, and I try to just use the word sex. Yeah.
All right. Okay, I'll do that from now on.
Yeah, avoid the terms of your enemy. Yeah.
True.
So originally talked about this story on an episode of Wilms Front when I had Samrat on. So this shy teenage boy, James Griffith, he had Googled how to make a friend and tried to engage this girl in conversation. And when he went up to approach her and touched her, and apparently just touched her on the hips and the arm. And she said, in a statement to police, "I felt extremely anxious in the following weeks, often breaking down into tears. I was completely unable to walk anywhere by myself without being overcome by fear. I had mock exams, and the stress and anxiety meant I was unable to focus or revise. I was continually crying and felt unsafe, even in my own home. I was scared to..."
Sorry to interrupt, but how's the picture on the right there?
Yeah, I know. Don't you just love the juxtaposition here? Did you see it, Timmy? No, scroll down, Tim. Scroll down. Naked ambition, student vet strip off for a naked calendar to support better mental health. So, on the one side, we've got this...
This is the Sun newspaper.
We've got this ever-increasing prudishness in our legal system, and just attacks on just genuine masculinity. Or, guys who are trying to learn how to talk to chicks. And on the other side, you've just got this basically escalation of pornography. Basically, our culture is now pornography.
Oh, well, it's not traditional pornography.
It's pornography. It's come on, it's people. You get people stripping off just for the like the silliest of reasons. Like, just, oh, let's do another naked calendar. Oh, no, never seen that before.
Yeah. So he was convicted of sexual assault, so he has to complete a 12-month community order with 200 hours of unpaid work and told he must sign the sex offenders register for the next 5 years. He said he clumsily approached the girl in an attempt to make a friend, but the words didn't come out. Basically, I think that's played out for what, all of time, but they've made movies about that.
It sounds like he's sort of like, read, how do you speak to a girl, but like he hasn't also like watched the how to read body language YouTube video as well.
Well, and let's not like skip over the truth here. The guy hasn't been taught how to talk to women, and
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Matty. Yeah, go.
Can I just finish this?
No. This is the point.
Yeah. Can I just finish the final bit of this article, and then I can put your pretty faces back on screen, and then you can gas bag.
We just need a little bit more detail before we get to the
analysis. The girl told the court the pavement was quite wide, but suddenly he moved to walk in front of me, looked at me straight in the eye, and touched me on the side and walked off. He walked off immediately when he realised that she didn't like it.
Wow. $200 fine for being awkward.
Yeah. That's it, isn't it, eh?
Who's hurt there? Who's the victim there? Really? Think about it. Who's the victim? This poor kid, I feel deeply sorry for him.
You can
wow, I don't know. If he's you'd hope he's getting punished for something in a past life, because that's horrible. Like, the guy's awkward and shy and he's trying to meet a girl, and it's horrible. It's like he finally gets the nerve. He's like, I'm going to do it, guys. I'm going to talk to a chick. I'm going to have a crack. Sees a pretty girl, walks up to her, says hi, touches her, gets scared, runs away.
Yep.
Bam. Sex offender, $250 fine.
Yeah. It's
like, you're scarred. This kid's scarred for life. Like, he's gonna have to fight through it. It'll be hard. If he's strong, he'll be able to fight through it. But holy crap!
But how about this?
Because basically that should be like the first terrible attempt. The second, if he hadn't got hit with a fine, the second terrible attempt would have been slightly less worse, then slightly less worse, and slightly less worse. Eventually, you learn a little bit. But instead, that's where we're at now. Like, girls basically they're brainwashed to feel like every sort of little slight that they feel is part of like a history of injustice against the female race, whatever. And they're empowered to just like punish people like this for no reason. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's correct. And granted, he's an awkward guy, and he probably came across as being weird, and it's not normal for someone to just walk up and say g'day like in that manner.
But with practice in a few years' time, he wouldn't be awkward.
Yeah, exactly. If he just went out and had a go at it and tried again, and he tried smiling and just didn't think about what he was going to say and just said, hi, you're pretty, and just really simple stuff, he could have got better and better and better. But now it's like, bang, holy crap, what a big imposition on his future confidence. But he's going to have to just suck it up and stand up for himself and just say, you know what, that's stuff.
Do you know what? If he clicks to it, like he can go like when he's messaging girls in the future, he can go, hey, it's just so you know, I'm on a sex offender list. It'll bring him in. It'll get him in.
It's a funny story. Hopefully he looks back on it in the future and tells his grandkids, when I was 19, I got fined £250, which was a decent money when I was 19, and because I was awkward and I said hello to a girl. So I get, you get to learn young. They can't find a 6-year-old. They can't find a 10-year-old. Yeah. You're going to learn to be friendly and nice and social and actually, stand up for yourself as well. And then when they become teenagers and they start getting inclined in that manner, they'll be socialized into it, and you tell them morals like don't have sex with a girl just out of nowhere. Like, actually get to know her and be committed to her first. And if you want to wait until marriage, then it's not really the socially done thing here these days. But I mean, the institution of marriage is being ripped apart. So I don't know where you'd sit on that. But anyway, the point
that
is
that institution can be brought back.
away.
Yeah.
Sorry?
That can be brought back.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
We can separate the sexes more, because right now the sexes are sort of jumbled up because of feminism and that cultural Marxist bullcrap, but we can separate them again, masculine, feminine, socialize our children to be proper men and actual feminine women, and we can bring back civilization and actually start doing things properly. But this is just a symptom of the feminist hold on our society, and like you said, it's these women are told that they're being oppressed and there's sexual predators around the corner and they're always getting raped and blah 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 this. And now guess who's the victim of it? A poor shy little English kid who built up the courage to talk to a chick and then had the world crash on him. Like, the poor thing.
Well, it's not just exclusive to the UK, this sort of stuff, because the New South Wales Parliament is considering affirmative consent laws, which means that if you don't get an active yes from a woman you're having sex with, then
you'll get a yes from her eventually. Yeah.
But the next day, because normally how this happens is they're drunk at a party and have drunken sex, and then there's sex regret the next day, and because there was no affirmative consent, then she can complain that it's rape. So it's no longer no means no. It's now that not saying yes means no. And the New South Wales Police, they're acting like this is already the law.
Just
because
on that. So
yeah, this is important. Yeah.
I do want to say one thing, and that's why we have that's why we have the institution of marriage. Think about it.
Yeah.
You're married. There's no issue of consent. That's the whole point of it. Yeah. It's like, this is why the hookup culture is so bad. Anyway, I just wanted to say that.
That is the point. Like, that's like what we're basically discussing the symptoms of the sickness here. Yeah.
So this is what New South Wales Police put out on the 15th of October. All the creepy fellas, now put your hands up in the club, acting like a thug. You keep trying to buy her drinks, attempting to flirt. You're behaving like a perv. She said no, and that's what she really means. She wants to feel safe. So give that girl some space. She doesn't want your attention. You've drunk a lot of beers. You could lose the best years. Take the hint and go away. If you like it, then you should ask for consent.
Do any of you people know a police officer? Do you know what policemen are like? Come on.
Well, this is their social media unit.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. That was so cringy. That was just,
I didn't do it in there.
The whole way.
That's obviously, for those who don't know, it's a play on Beyonce's Single Ladies song.
I think it was some...
I didn't sing it out because I hate that song. But she does say in that song, if you wanted to keep it, you should have put a ring on it. So
cringe slam poetry. Don't you know that white men shouldn't rap?
It's just horrendous. It's just such terrible content. I mean, come on. Who looks at that and thinks, yeah.
They need some affirmative consent mascot to go around to all the schools and say, "Hey boys, I only have a good time if people say yes."
It's nuts. But that's the thing. That's why we just need to go back to monogamous, consenting relationships where before you jump into bed, it's fairly official that this is the course of the relationship, rather than just let's go out and hook up with some random and potentially knock them up or get an STD or get accused of raping or whatever, or actually getting raped, because it does happen. And it's just, it's a matter of safety for both sexes. And that's why we have the institution of marriage, and that's why, and monogamy and all that kind of thing. It's a big reason we've kept it for so long. It's very important. And look what's happened when we got rid of it. Anyway.
I'm sure up in heaven there's some old fuddy-duddy from the 1950s going, "I told you so."
I'm going to segue to the next thing here. So Kmart, somebody launched a petition to get a girl's bride costume for Halloween removed from the shelf, because apparently this is insensitive to victims of child marriages, even though for the past 100 years little girls have fantasized about their wedding day. don't you remember as a child reading children's fictions books where, like, a lot of the time the young female would dream about getting married, and she'd already picked out a boy in her year level to marry?
Kids play getting married.
Yeah, so it was confirmed victory with... How many signatures was it? 507 signatures. Kmart caved in to 507 signatures.
507 on change.org.
What's interesting is that I doubt that this would have been a problem until we've had this recent influx of diversity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course not.
So now it's a young girl shouldn't think about... Obviously, when young girls fantasize about marriage, it's when they're adults. They're not thinking about it.
They don't think about marriages when they're adults anymore. That's the problem.
Yes, but that's how it traditionally...
They get socialized out of them.
Yeah. They get told by society that, you know, you got to jump on the cop carousel and go travelling until you're 30. You can have it all, girl. Yeah. You can do it. Don't waste your youth on wonderful things like being a mother and having a family. Yeah. Horrible. It's horrible, apparently.
Yeah. You can still get witches' costumes for Halloween.
You get a lot of costumes. You can get well, think about it. I mean, the child bride costume. Think about it. It is a little bit.
Is a little boy? Is a little boy allowed to dress as a bride?
Probably. Yeah, they would probably encourage that. Yeah. You wouldn't be allowed to stop them.
Are you trying to segue to this other story, Tim?
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about, you remember Miley Cyrus 10 years ago when she was the wholesome Disney star and she wore a purity ring to signify she was going to be a virgin until marriage?
I'd forgotten about the purity ring.
Yes, but that's...
But wait. Are you saying Miley Cyrus is Hannah Montana? No way.
Well, she had the double...
Mind blown.
She had 3 identities back then. She was Hannah Montana, Miley Stewart, and Miley Cyrus.
Yeah, right, okay.
And what was it? Billy Ray was it Billy Ray Stewart or something? It was all confusing. But yeah, now she's Miley Cyrus, and she's just gone through a brief marriage to Liam Hemsworth, who's
that'll be the biggest mistake of his life. Yeah.
Well, I what's he actually famous for? Because I just know him as the younger brother of Chris Hemsworth.
I think that's pretty much it. Was he on Neighbours or Home and Away or something? Or?
Well, that's what Chris Hemsworth was on Home and Away, but I don't know what Liam Hemsworth ever done. Somebody can enlighten me in the comments. It's sort of like the rest of the Baldwin and Wilson brothers, who are just famous because the older brot's famous.
All right.
Yes, well, she has made a statement because she's now dating Cody Simpson, who's... do you know who he is?
No.
I'm
sure you'll tell us.
Yes, he's this Australian pop star who started when he was about 13, one of those teen idols.
Why is she picking on the Aussies?
Yes, well, he's 22 now, so he's gotten older. So they're dating now, and Miley Cyrus has now said that she wants to say to women, you don't have to be gay anymore. There are good people with dicks out there. And so a lot of LGBT groups are upset with her because she implies that, or being a lesbian at least, is a choice.
Look, Miley Cyrus needs a certain medieval punishment, and that's all you can really say about her. I'm not going to go bat for her.
Well, she did appear naked on a wrecking ball.
Oh, so degenerate. Our society's just so degenerate. Honestly, you just expect fire and brimstone to just go.
But
it's just. Ugh.
There's
just
always been
much of this rubbish.
There's always been this theory that it was perpetrated by Milo that sexuality is not a choice for guys, but it is for girls. He said that lesbians don't exist, and
I would take his argument one step further. Yeah.
Well, in the second wave feminists in the 70s, because they believed under patriarchy all heterosexual intercourse was rape, they became what were termed political lesbians.
Yes.
Probably the most famous of that was Sheila Jeffreys.
Yes.
She's been hounded out of Melbourne Uni because she's a TERF, trans exclusionary radical feminist. She called trans women wearing woman face.
Yes. I've got a Sheila Jeffreys story.
Oh, do you want to maybe segue?
Because I did politics at Melbourne University, and I wanted to do my honours course over 2 years. And so somebody told me that if you're working part-time, that you're allowed to do it if you're working, you're allowed to do your university course part-time. You can do your thesis one year and all the subjects another. And so I went in, and like, she was the one who had to make the decision about it. And so I said that to her, and she's like, oh, no, you're not allowed. Like, this rule it's meant for like working, like for mothers, like for women who have kids to look after. And so I told her what I just said there, and she's like, oh, well, I don't think so, but I'll just go check. So she actually had the decency to check. I'll give her that. But then she came back and she said, she looked a little bit miffed, and she said, well, apparently that's the rule. So, yep, I have to let you do it part-time. I don't agree with it. Personally, I think it should be for women. But, yep, I'm going to have to let you do it part-time. So, yeah, that's my Sheila Jeffries story. Yeah, and she would poor little soy boys would get conned into doing a feminism subject at Melbourne University, and she would point them out in the very first lecture, and she would say, what are you doing for gender equality or some rubbish like that? Like, she would openly embarrass the guys. Like, yeah. So again, no sympathy for it. Like, if she's been turfed out because she's a turf, then who cares?
MJ has said in the comments, the XYZ guy went to Melbourne Uni. I like that he calls you that. How did you get out of there with your soul intact?
It took several years of deprogramming for some of it.
Well,
but you get a look at the soul of the beast as well. So
yeah, you learn what the enemy is.
Stefanos, Australian Meditations, he also went to Melbourne Uni and had some fun there. If you want to know a few of his stories, tune into my old Unshackled Waves episode with him. It's right at the end.
Yeah. Peter V just said Dave should claim trans status, but the whole problem was there would be no way I'd be able to identify as a woman speaking to Sheila.
Well, there's what is it, Danielle Moscato, who just looks like you but is a woman. You haven't heard about Danielle Moscato?
That's the most brutal thing you've ever said to me, dude. That's amazing. I've got nothing. There's no comeback to that.
Oh, Daddy.
Rex! I got nothing.
So it's all right because his chest hair looks like Austin Powers' chest hair.
Well, we had a chest hair out episode last week. There was mine and there was James.
It was
and
a
there
chest off, yeah.
Stephanos, we can see a bit of yours.
Yeah, I've got a bit of chest hair. My legs are the hairiest though. I'm full on like in the legs.
I wrote about last month Victoria's war on heterosexuality, because we've seen, and you talked about this in your recent video, Matty, the LGBTQP agenda exposed. But the thing is that the P...
Ah, you put the P in.
But
well done.
The P...
I actually did not notice that.
The P stands for...
Yeah.
The P should actually be in place of B, because bisexual implies two genders, while P also stands for pansexual, which means you're attracted to anything.
Well, was it on this show or on our show where I pointed out, like, it's terribly restrictive of these doctors. The doctors who do gender change state funding for every single one of those. And people shouldn't have to move interstate just so that they can become an attack helicopter. You should be able to become an attack helicopter whether you're in Australia, whether in Victoria, New South Wales, Queensland, whether you're regional, whether in a major city. Yeah.
And how quickly has this come after gay marriage?
Yeah, just like that, huh?
Well, it's nearly 2 years since the postal survey results.
It's like
exactly what we predicted.
Hey, everybody, we told you so.
No, it's bullshit. No, it's a slippery slope. Nah, there it is. It's a slippery cliff, not a slippery slope.
Yeah,
slippery cliff. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another
Slippery cliff argument. That's what it is.
Somebody should record this. Like, we're coming up with gold tonight.
Yeah. If only it was on the internet or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Now, I chronologued how basically heterosexuality has been demonized in the state of Victoria. So it began with the grid girls at the Formula One. They were axed at the beginning of 2018 after some lobbying from the Victorian Greens the previous year. They said, stop funding sporting events that sexualise and objectify women. And then, of course, we saw the wicked campers ban on those.
Wicked campers?
Wicked campers that has those crass sexual slogans there.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
And then
Good old Daniel.
in the boxing match in Bendigo, was at the Battle of Bendigo between Jeff Horn and Michael Severo on August 31. The event co-promoted Dean Lonergan. He caved into pressure from Bendigo councillors Yvonne Wrigglesworth and Jennifer Alden, who are members of the city's gender equity working group. They labelled the girls token trophy women. They replaced the three ring girls with men who are called fight progress managers.
I love the fact that the crowd booed, and so they actually brought the girls back. Yeah. But given it's in Bendigo, maybe they should have just put the girls in burqas.
Well, the mosque has broken ground now.
Yeah.
But Yvonne Wrigglesworth, because the Bendigo faithful, they still make a lot of noise up there, who do their weekly...
They're good people, those.
Yes, which is largely female powered. They made their opposition to this unemployment of females known, and Yvonne Wrigglesworth, she actually resigned from council.
Oh, really? Good work.
But then Daniel Andrews, he decided that what happened in Bendigo was good and called for the Octagon girls, Octagon
good.
Girls. No, it's
Damn, mate. Learn to read, Tim. Instantly. Octagon.
The UFC 243 event it's just passed in Melbourne. He wanted those girls banned, saying, "We have come a long way in making sport more accessible for women and girls. Events have a powerful message to send when it comes to the representation of women in sport and the community." And the Lord Mayor Sally Capps said that it's 2019.
It's the current year.
It's
the current year. It's the current year, people.
Do we really need?
It's the current year.
Do we really?
It's the current year. It's the current year.
Do we really?
It's the current year.
Wait, it gets better. Do we really need scantily clad women to wander around the middle of the fighting between rounds?
So I've made the point before. So these people are perfectly happy for women to work as strippers and prostitutes. They're perfectly happy for attractive or not so attractive women to literally sell their bodies for sex, but they're not happy for attractive women to use their good looks to make them money in a way that doesn't literally sell their body for sex. Like, they're just, they're taking advantage of the fact that they're attractive, and that's all.
Yeah.
So what this basically is ugly women wanting to destroy the souls of pretty women. It's pure jealousy.
We've got a super chat from Senator Slayer for $3. There's a doctor from Monash University, I assume, sniffing around trying to have me and Blair take part in a thesis comparing right extreme and domestic violence. They're trying to attack Pauline's inquiry, which just had its first meeting this week in Parliament.
So they're trying to paint Neil and Blair as domestic abusers.
Yes.
They're all pathetic. All of these idiots.
Hey, you didn't read out the last word that he said.
Oh, well, it's I'm trying to keep in the community guidelines. But wait,
what's the last word?
I'm not going to say.
Is it a tribal word?
Well, that's you can't see it.
Is it a triple word? An X3?
I'm going to, because there's been a further development on these unemployment of attractive girls is that there was a campaign to get rid of women's magazines, People and Picture, from service stations. So Bauer Media, who publishes these magazines, has now shut down Picture and People following a BP and 7-Eleven's decision to no longer allow them on shelves. The decision comes after complaints that these titles sexualized young girls and promoted harassment. And it's based on this collective shout group, which is run by Melinda Tankard-Reist, who's I think she's a second wave feminist because she supports criminalization of sex work and also pornography ban all throughout the internet, which would be very hard to
Well, yeah,
enforce.
pornography should be banned. Like haven't the Russians tried to ban pornography? And Vladimir Putin has, said like stop whacking off and go make some babies, basically.
Yeah, nice. Good stuff. Make babies.
Good on him.
When
We'll
was the
make
last
babies.
time you actually saw a scantily clad woman on TV or in your Facebook feed?
I don't know. I don't watch. I don't watch television.
But you're on Facebook.
Well, around where I live, and when I drive home, you see them all over the place, man. It's hot. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah. When it's like,
So,
yeah, it's quite nice.
Are we talking about real life? You live?
Be really careful because
Yeah.
I've got a little recording instrument behind me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So when I
he
go,
remember everything.
All of a sudden.
Oh, that's all right. You're
later
socializing
on,
him.
Yeah,
That's
well,
okay,
I
Matty.
mean, it's-
You're just helping to grow
yeah.
his confidence so that when he goes up to talk to a chick, he doesn't land himself with a $250 fine.
You're talking about real
Yeah,
life
he'll
scantily
be
clad
fine.
women. I
He'll be
share.
fine.
Batting them off like that, he'll be like, "Get away! I'll get you fined. I'll get you charged with sexual harassment.
Yeah, that's it.
I'll drag you through the courts
Yeah,
to my English brothers."
yeah. So that's the whole point of it. Like, focus on the real thing. Like, yeah, like you're not going to hear me
Isn't it-
like standing up for these picture magazine. Like, who cares?
But you notice that it's still okay to objectify men in any way. Like, for example,
Of course.
they have all those men's underwear ads on television at the moment, which has basically men like in nothing except their underwear. And in my Facebook
Yeah,
feed,
because
there's
all
like.
the-
In my
they're
Facebook
all
feed,
bad.
there's a constant like stream of underwear ads in my Facebook feed. I keep having to hide them.
Yeah, it's something.
All the marketers are gay. It's got to be that.
Yeah,
They all.
it would be a great little like sort of just ploy to like. Wouldn't it be great like to actually like get rid of all female objectification just to see the women go, you know what? We actually kind of liked it. Like, now that guys are no longer objectifying us, all we've got are our cats.
Yeah. And it's like, and if we're not getting objectified, that means we have to actually have good personalities. We might have to actually treat men a little bit better than maybe we treated some men. And the thing is, everyone always, like the women, they always see this pyramid. I think Milo actually shared it. It was like a pyramid, and the women always share the pyramid where it's like women at the bottom of the pyramid and then the men are the pinnacle, but they always miss the last bit. So there's a bit below the women, which is where the rest of the men are. So that's, there's a difference in sexual market value and all that kind of stuff, and feminists just abuse that, and it's destroying society. And then they come out and they can just, oh, look at me. I exist, therefore I'm attractive. Just want it, like, but a bloke does that, and like, imagine if they're 40 kilos overweight and they got hair in their nose and I've got my shirt off, they got like a little bikini on. Everyone's just like, bro, it's disgusting.
Yeah, he's likely to get
They
a
do the same.
$250 fine.
Or even, okay, so I mean, someone 40 kilos overweight's a bad example, but because it's not like for like. But imagine if it was like you see some dude with their shirt off, just hanging outside their house, and you're just like, oh, put it away, mate.
Yeah.
You just think, what a wanker. Come on, mate, put it away. Who are ya? It's just like, what? You just like, what? It just flogs. Guys, it's seriously.
So there's a question from Senator Slayer. Why is Tim cucking on Uncuckables say slut? Well, I just did then. Well, slut is actually, it can be a gender inclusive term because I have called men sluts.
We've got to start slut shaming again. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You got to slut shaming is actually really, it's spare the rod, spoil the child. You know, if you spare the slut shaming, you turn them into sluts.
Well, you're shamed for not having sex now because remember, there's this whole incel shaming now.
Yeah.
So you have to basically.
What is it? Naughty designer said Islam is right about sluts.
Yes. Very good one. Yeah. Can we talk about this this other American one?
Yes, I've got to move on to because not only is manliness under attack, but what is a woman is under attack. So you want to talk about this?
Yeah, I want to talk about
Matty.
this. Okay, so the story is, if you haven't heard about it, you got to tell people about this because it's just vile. There's a family. This family father and his wife, who was the stepmother of the child, they split up, and the stepmother was in a custody battle. The stepmother wanted to make him go through a gender transition. The stepmother. And so the guy's like, all right, let's take it to court. And he decided on a jury trial because he thought, look, the jury's not going to buy this crap. And I'm the biological father. It's my kid. And the jury found in favour of the woman. So the jury's basically forced. This jury said, no, you have to give this kid up. It's your kid, not hers. You're the stepmother, not the real mother. And allow her to chemically castrate this 7-year-old. And it's like, go through the transition, which is just chemical castration. It's just disgusting.
The process is when he starts going through puberty, they put him on puberty blockers, which delay the effects of puberty. But that stage of the transition is reversible because if they're taken off them, then they just go through puberty.
Either way, she wants to just. It's a child abuse either way. It's disgusting either way. It's a horrible violation of the child's rights, the child's property rights, and the family's property rights, the father's property rights. John Mark did an awesome video about this. Actually, he just released it today, I believe, on his secondary channel. John Mark Says. It's only got 11,000 subs. Go check it out. It's just a real quick one, impromptu one discussing it.
Yeah. I call him Helmet Man.
Helmet Man, the red helmet. But he spoke about it from a proprietarian point of view. And what they are doing, what this LGBT agenda is doing, and this is a symptom of that, is imposing a cost on people. Because when you are a homosexual, you are refusing, you're saying, oh, well, I'm not going to pass on my genes to the next generation. And the thing is, your family invest in you. Your family birth you and they raise you and they put their time and their love and their effort into you. And then you say, well, I'm not going to pass on my genes. I'm going to be gay. It's imposing a cost on your family, and it's not just your father, but also your extended family, because you've got the genes there, and by extension, a slight cost on the ethnicity and a slight cost on the race, and it's probably negligible after ethnicity, but whatever. So you're imposing a cost that's not reciprocated, which is parasitism. So you can see that this is why homosexuality is a sin, because it violates natural law and it violates property rights of the family. And when you see it happen in this manner, it's so extreme and in your face, and people need to know what happens when you let gay marriage pass and you let the state use these homosexuals to push the oligarchy's agenda, and bam, we get 7-year-olds we get fathers losing their biological children to the child's stepmother, who wants to abuse that child, like literally abuse that child with chemicals, and basically make it impossible for him to pass on his genes to the next generation. So it's a gross violation of property rights, and it's a horrible sin. It's evil. But thankfully, if you have a look at John Mark's video, you'll see there's a huge backlash, and even the governor of Texas is said that he's going to have the department look into it, because obviously it's just a gross injustice. Isn't it?
Apparently there's a video of him basically saying, yeah, my mum actually dresses me in dresses and puts nail polish on me and stuff.
It's horrid.
Yeah,
horrid.
She's actually brainwashing the kid.
But it's interesting that 11 of 12 jury members voted to deny the father sole custody and in fact ruled the opposite.
It's amazing.
in Texas.
It's amazing. Yeah.
What was it? Was it in Austin?
Who was the jury? Yeah. Where was it?
Oh, well, I'll see.
What ethnicity were the jurors? What actually happened in the case? It's like you gotta ask that question. And the thing is, you look at it, and it's horrid. It puts.
Dallas. It was in Dallas.
Dallas. Wow.
Dallas.
Houston is the LGBT capital of Texas. They've got a lesbian mayor. So Dallas is up in the northern part of the state. So obviously down in the south of Texas, that's where a lot of immigrants are coming across the border. And that's where Mr. O'Rourke is from. But Dallas is in northern Texas.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
So it's like you'd have to wonder why, like, what the hell's happening? What's wrong with the jury system there?
What's happening to Texas?
Like the law, it could be the judge as well. Like, you have a look at the judge who ruled over it. It wouldn't be surprising if she was one of these activists, if you have a look at her. And I think it just needs to be investigated, and we need to find out why this gross injustice has happened, because it's horrendous. It's just horrendous. And, I mean, if there's, say, there's like an abuse coming from the father or something like that we don't know about. Let's just speculate. Even then, the child should be removed from both parents and placed with like the extended family, most definitely, because it's an unsafe household. Because if that mother is encouraging chemical castration, which is what essentially which is what transitioning is. It is castration. And brainwashing the child, and that is child abuse, and that child should be removed from that parent. It's just as simple as that.
I'll just clarify some of the gender transition facts. So when a male takes estrogen to have the female appearance, then they immediately become infertile. Nothing comes out of their
PP.
Yes, but a woman who gets its testosterone shots, they can still get their period and bear children, because there's all these been men who've been giving birth. And did you know that this week there was Always, which is a tampon pad brand, Procter and Gamble is the parent company. They've removed the Venus symbol from which is meant to be represent female from their tampons to be more inclusive.
It's vile. You got to show people all this kind of stuff, because this is the natural extension of gay marriage. This is what happens when you violate the sanctity of the marriage in such a gross manner and say that it's okay for people who can't possibly ever actually get married to get married under the law. And then, we're basically giving the agenda over to the activists that pushed the gay marriage. It's just, it's horrendous. Words can't explain just how bad it is. Actually, words can explain how bad it is. It's in the book of Genesis. It's called the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. And it explains pretty much how bad this sin really is.
That's basically where I was going to go with it. Like, we're not voting our way out of this. We're not turning the cultural pendulum back. Like, this is heading towards disaster. Like, when you've just got complete denial of reality, like for a company that is supposed to make money out of something that people want, like surely like these people would be sane.
You deny reality for long enough, and eventually reality will remind you that it is still reality. There's nothing you can do to stop that. That's the natural law.
And just don't expect any mercy once it starts happening.
There was another tampon brand, Thinks. They released an ad. It was supposed to be a hypothetical about what if everyone had periods, including men, and they called it menstruation, and showed like men having periods and needing. Because everyone was confused.
There was actually a hilarious episode of the Cosby Show back in the 80s, where like Bill Cosby has this dream that all the guys get pregnant, and it was hilarious. And so it comes to the final scene where they're all having their babies, and they each have they give birth to what they really love. So one guy gets a boat, and Bill Cosby gets this giant, massive burger. And
Also, that's what Bill Cosby really wanted.
That's what he really wanted.
Yeah.
And there's this line about.
Senator Slayer has said, "Did you guys see Mark Dice's video on the tampon ad for men and the boy tell his daddy got his period?" Yes, I think I did see that. I watch a lot of Mark Dice's videos.
You think Clown World can't get any more clown, but then it goes.
Wait, but there's more.
Of course, you've got more for us. This is the reaction.
I'm gonna interrupt you again, Matty, because
what do you got for
I
us?
can.
This is the last thing I'm gonna go.
All right. You'll leave on this fantastic note. Is that in the UK, a pornographer is being investigated for a hate crime because they wanted this woman here, Rhea Cooper, to appear in a straight pornographic movie, but when he found out she had a penis, then he withdrew the offer, and so it's apparently a hate crime that he withdrew this contract. So even the porn industry is now being cannibalized by this trans ideology. And
we are literally at state mandated homosexuality. Yeah.
And I recall it was a number of years ago, everyone was quite triggered when it was the Courier Mail in Brisbane. They described I think it was a murdered Indonesian woman who was transgender as a she-male. And in Victoria, Fiona Patton, I can't remember if she was a politician at the time, but she
was she still a whore back then, was she?
Well, she was a spokeswoman for the Eros Foundation, which is the adult entertainment. She convinced...
You just answered my question.
She convinced all the adult shops in Melbourne to remove their pornography, which had she-male in the title. Even though, she-male porn has been a big thing on the internet for years. So
again,
PC
we're talking
in the
about
porn industry.
We're talking about pornography. Who cares?
You didn't have to bring that topic into it either. It's let's just end it on a she-male. It's come on, mate, that's gross. It's just disgusting. That kind of stuff just makes me want to throw up.
Excuse me, this is reality. I'm sorry that you're triggered discussing.
It's clown world.
Yes.
Clown world. It's
yes.
But why are we defending pornography anyway?
Well, it's just making the point that not even the most degenerate industry is immune from politically correctness.
Yes, we know that the left always eat their own.
Satanism eats itself, always.
Yeah. It's that snake eating itself, isn't it?
Yeah. All right. Thanks, lads.
I'm
going to go.
Cool. Enjoy.
Great chatting with you.
Great chatting with you, Matty. You man, both downstairs and upstairs.
That's the way I was born, boys.
Yes.
See you later.
Bye.
Cheers. What else have we got, Tim?
Oh, I can move because I need to get another screen because we've currently got 2 screens here. I need to get a 3rd screen so we can have the Skype guest, the share screen, and the broadcasting screen. It means I can have things full screen over here now.
I'm not complaining. I'm used to looking at Matty and me looking like pixels.
Pixels? How?
Like when we do our live stream, I'm like...
Oh, yes. Actually, the sound's not too bad for XYZ Live.
Yeah,
Brucey Boy has asked a question. Have you lads spoken about the hilarious backlash to the Michael Lewin cartoon? I've heard briefly about that. Let me just Google it right now. Do you know of it?
Is it Lewing? I always thought it was Lunig.
I'll do it on my iPad because... And, do you want to read the question from Senator Slay while I look up?
Does Peter Grace have periods? Yes, he does.
Oh, yes, here it is here that... I should probably bring it up. I know what I'll do is...
Get it up there, man.
Yeah, hang on, because I've accessed it on my iPad, so I've got to put it in the chat.
Yeah, the 57 arrests in Victoria for youth crime.
Yes.
All the 57 youths.
Did you watch the video?
The video? No.
Yeah, so Victoria Police, they released it was like a trophy video of all the arrests. And
did they parade them?
Yes,
they said this one is worth $50. No, wait.
They pixelated the youth's faces, but they couldn't pixelate the skin color.
Yes.
Which was interesting. They haven't quite got advanced pixelation technology.
Yeah, or maybe they identify as Australians.
Oh, well, I don't know if they're Australian citizens or not.
Yeah. We do make the difference between an Australian and an Australian citizen.
Hey, where's my...
yes.
I put it in the chat here.
We'll get up to the 39 soon.
39, yes.
Yeah, the number 39. We just need 150,000 lorries, guys.
I'm trying to look at the... I'll come back to it. But we'll move on to... Oh, we didn't discuss... yes, Daniel Andrews, who now wants to ban gay... Not just gay conversion therapy, but I think it includes trans conversion therapy as well. And the Liberal opposition there... they haven't made a decision yet, but it's interesting that Jacinta Ardern in New Zealand said that she won't ban it because she respects religious freedom.
So she's happy for the Muslims to do it.
Yes,
she's scared of the Muslims.
Well,
she's basically scared of the Muslims.
Well, she's been going around wearing a hijab everywhere, speaking at these women's events.
I've been making the point that like the current culture that we're in, this is ironic because the postmodernists base their whole way of thinking on the idea that they should subvert the dominant paradigm. Western culture, traditional Western culture, is no longer the dominant paradigm in the West. Cultural Marxism is the dominant paradigm. Liberalism is the dominant paradigm. And what we're seeing just bit by bit, whether it's Jacinda Ardern respecting religious freedom just on that matter, whether it's, I think the city of Birmingham, they've stopped they've stopped the story hours by the freaks. We're basically seeing a challenge by the new culture, i.e. a foreign culture, against cultural Marxism. And the argument that I make is that that's when the chaos starts, and that's our chance to get back in.
You reminded me that I wanted to bring something else up in this, the G-gendering of society.
The G-gendering?
Yes. Because you were aware of the Binary Australia, run by Kerry Smith, who used to run Halal Choices. Dia had her on her last Wednesday live stream. Yep. Well, Kerry Smith, she drew attention to the fact that the Canberra Olympic pool, in conjunction with the ACT government, are trialling gender-specific sessions for the months of October, aimed at maximising patronage for all community groups.
I was about to say, I didn't know that the month of October had 157 days in it. Like, there are too many genders. You're going to need several months to do all of that, aren't you?
Surely. Whilst at the same time minimising barriers for everyone to access public swimming pools. Trial commences 5th of October, and the trial will continue for the month of October, at which time an evaluation will be made regarding the ongoing potential of the program. Entries are at normal price. All patrons are welcome in line with the gender for the proposed session. Females only for Saturday and males only for Sunday. Thank you for your understanding. Kerry Smith said, will you allow a transgender woman who obviously has male generator to swim in the male only session? Will you allow a transgender man who hasn't had their breast removed to swim topless during the males only session? Please explain your policy. Will you cater for gender fluid people with 58 different gender specific sessions? Which just makes a good point.
58. That's terribly restrictive from Kerry Smith.
There's who was it? Milo Stewart, who's the gender fluid. I would say royalty of YouTube, said there's probably millions and millions of genders.
Yeah, I actually made an article like several years ago saying that the number of known genders is so numerous that it can actually be seen from space. And if you piled the number of known genders on top of one another, you could actually get halfway from here to Jupiter. Yeah.
I sort of feel like, because we talked about how it's surgeons who transition men to women and women to men, It seems that non-binary transitions are made by hairdressers. They just dye the hair one different color, and it's sort of this ambiguous length hair, and maybe some glasses and a nose ring, and then you're a new gender.
It's like that scene from Not Another Teen Movie, you know, where like the hot chick transitions the hot dorky chick from like a dorky chick to a hot chick just by taking off her glasses and like taking away her ponytail.
And she says, I did it, I'm a miracle worker. The makeover. Josh Green asks, who is responsible for Marxism? Well, that's obvious. Karl Marx, its namesake, and was his offsider Frederick Engels.
You're cucking, Tim.
Well, why is it called Marxism then?
You're cucking.
Like,
Marxism.
And Senator Slater said, sorry to blow up your question section, but have you seen that feminist book got wrecked and had a book cancelled? Play this video. Well, that's not a super chat, so we don't have to play that. But you did ask us a question. Yes, Naomi Wolf, she alleged that men in 19th century Britain were executed for sodomy, which none were. And so her book deal got crushed.
Yes, I do remember that.
So Naomi Wolf, she's this feminist writer who goes to all these festivals and that. She advised Al Gore on female voters, which obviously, did he become president? If only a few more Florida grandmas at Palm Beach had been able to vote for him. If people know what I mean. Yeah, so maybe we should have another slogan, Islam is right about there being two genders. Did you also hear, I covered it on my show last night, that Jessica Yarnev lost her ball waxing case?
Couldn't happen to a nicer bloke, yeah?
And was ordered to pay $6,000 in costs.
Is that all?
And everyone was saying that this was a Canadian Human Rights Commission. And obviously Justin Trudeau's just been re-elected. So everyone was basically saying this is some sort of miracle. Because we have Mr. Trudeau as Canada's Prime Minister for another 4 years. Rebel Media did a very good election night live stream.
Yeah, Canada's stuffed.
Yes. But it was interesting because Ezra Levine, got lots of money. He was able to send his reporters Sheila Gunn Reid, David Menzies, and there's another one I'm forgetting. There's this youngster. I think I got an email from him
Timmy,
just today.
Do you realise we're still just wearing our headphones against them?
Oh.
It's the second time this has happened.
Well, what if there's some loud noise that we can't hear? That's we need to hear it because our audience will hear it and we won't.
We'll manage.
Yes, I'm trying to. Why can you never, when you actually want to find an email? Oh yes, Kian Bexter. He's the young rebel. So Ezra Levine is basically cut back. Well, it's not called Rebel Media anymore. It's called Rebel News, and it's solely focused on Canada now. So it's basically just him, David Menzies, Sheila Gunn Reid, and this young guy.
So Rebel Media is now just Canadian news.
Yes.
Right, because didn't they try to come into Australia at some point?
Well, yes, and the UK.
Yeah.
So obviously, and they're just focused on in this election they've just been focused on following the election campaign and reporting news, and they did a highlights reel at the end of the live stream where basically, because we've been talking about the media. Your Right to Know campaign by the mainstream media.
Yes.
But they kept getting asked, the Rebel reporters, are you a proper journalist? Because they were blacklisted by both the politicians and the mainstream media collective. And David, he's called David the Menzoid Menzies. He went up to Andrew Shearer, the conservative leader who amazingly lost. Asked him if he supported free speech, and David Menzies got arrested and handcuffed and driven across town.
So David Menzies was a rebel reporter?
Yes.
Right.
Can you imagine if, like, say, an ABC reporter was handcuffed?
Yeah. So what you're saying is that in Canada, even controlled opposition gets arrested, yeah?
Well, rebel media they're certainly not, well, given the fact that they're not included in the Canadian
How
media
convenient. Yes.
establishment, then it shows that they really are outsiders, rebels. Because Justin Trudeau, he wants to also crack down on social media as well. That's his next thing, and so Ezra.
He doesn't want any more of those photos coming out, does he? Huh?
Well,
we called it too, because, like, remember a few weeks ago when we were looking at those photos and we were pointing out the fact that, like, those dark hands of his were just a little too friendly around the neck and of his female students. And then it came out a little after that, like, you know, there was a little bit of talk of teacher-student relationships, sexual harassment, that sort of stuff. We called it.
Did you see both Stefan Molyneux and Sheila Gunn-Reid, the Rebel reporter? Because did you see the full body blackface video where he's like that?
I think I have, yeah.
Yeah, they managed to get a HD quality version of it. And people noticed because it did a full body pan.
Yes.
And, like, his crotch was quite big. And Justin Trudeau, in, like, press meetings, like, especially with Donald Trump, he's got his legs crossed, which normally men don't cross their legs.
So you're saying not only was he doing blackface, he was, you know...
Yes. he was. That's how dedicated he is to impersonating black people.
I love it.
Yes, so people have said Canada has elected its first blackface prime minister. And isn't that amazing that a liberal progressive world leader can go through that scandal and still win?
Yeah, well, I was listening to Canadian progressives being interviewed, and they were basically saying, yeah, we know he got into trouble, but we still want him because we want somebody who we think is progressive. And yeah, the people who vote for Justin Trudeau, we're never going to stop voting for him, because they're a whole bunch of lefties and they're just destroying their country, and they want to keep destroying their country.
But did you have a look at the Canadian electoral map? Because the Conservatives actually got more of the primary vote, about 1.5% more, about 34%. Liberal Party, which is Justin Trudeau's party, got around 33%. That's because the Conservatives did a clean sweep in Alberta, which is one of the western states or prairie states. They swang massively to the Conservatives because that's where a lot of the...
Is that where Whitey still is?
And where a lot of the oil production and like actually like getting things out of the ground.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
so is this another one of my moments where I get to go, this is why we have to talk about race?
Well, this is why where you have these large cities like Toronto and Vancouver, or Vancouver actually swung against Trudeau as well, but it was Ontario that held for the Liberal Party.
So what you're saying is we need to nuke the Canadian cities?
No, there needs to be a Western state secession in Canada, and also the Bloc Quebecians, because Quebec is the French province.
Yeah, they're not going to take any of that shit.
Yeah, so
they've actually got an identity. They've been maintaining their identity for the entire time that they've been part of Canada. So it's like, no, of course South African is not French. Like, we're French.
Because if you watch the live stream like I did, both the leaders, they have to give their remarks in both English and French.
Yeah, no, it's terrible. And they need somebody signing as well.
I could not tolerate that if, like, being a Canadian, like, I have to listen, like, because they switch, like, they say some remarks in English, then say it in French, and then start in English again.
Yep.
And
it's terribly inefficient. Yeah.
Yes, and it's funny enough that the
So what you're saying is we should nuke Ontario?
No, I'm saying that, well, I'm a secessionist, so I think the Quebecians, they should secede, but it's interesting
Would that be white secessionism?
Well, it would be a ethnic secession.
Yes. Yeah. It could set a nice precedent. Yeah.
And you also have you just basically need to break up Canada. Yeah, or just yeah.
It's not even a real country anyway.
No, it's not. So some people have proposed maybe that Trump can offer Justin Trudeau to buy Alberta, because he is now the Prime Minister for all of Canada, so he can screw over those Western states and like say, no, you're not allowed to drill or things like that.
Yeah, okay.
So he can
got an
he can
incentive to get out of there. Yeah.
So they've recently got a new Conservative premier in Alberta, Jason Kennedy. He's considered sort of the next gen cool conservative leader.
It would be really, really nice to see some part of Canada like just push back against all this, because like I get the impression that it really eats up somebody like Stefan Molyneux. Like he hates what's happening to his country.
Radical Islamophobe has sent in $25. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for
very
the
much
generous
again.
super chat. And it shows up in yellow.
Yeah.
It says, "Did Peter Grace get affirmative consent from his pants before he emptied his load in them?" Well, because if you have control of your bladder, you're consenting to the urination. Well, if you don't, then you're not consenting to...
Yes. Yeah, so basically you're saying that Peter Grace has been raping himself. Yeah.
No, I just said that it, like, if you can't control it, then it's obviously you're there's no consent.
Yeah. So what I said.
If you want to put it like that. So going back, what else were we talking about? Oh yes, in the UK was at Essex last night. There was a truck that was discovered with 39 dead bodies, which has been revealed to be part of a migrant smuggling operation. It started in Bulgaria, went to Belgium, then went through Ireland, and then ended up in England. And they haven't said how, but it's been spoken about that in the European summer that the 39 migrants in this truck basically were cooked to death.
So it was like an oven in there. Yeah.
Well,
we only need 150,000 more of these lorries, you're saying?
Well, it's not the first time that this has actually happened over the past 20 years. It is quite, like, that'd be a terrible way to die, to just basically be burnt to death basically in this truck.
Yeah. So my point is that who cares? Basically, this just reminds me of the end of Independence Day, where they finally the humans finally bring down the alien spaceship, and they go, now we know how to take those sons of bitches down. Basically, like when we look at invasions, like back in the old days, the way you invaded was you and your tribe, you go to another country and you either kill its inhabitants or they kill you. Like the reason that France is called France is because when the Franks invaded after the fall of the Roman Empire, there weren't Roman soldiers there to genocide them. Like that's the reason why France is called France and not Helvetii, because like when the Helvetii came in like the 1st century BC, the Romans went out there and they genocided them. Now these days, when you want to take over a country, you send people in dribs and drabs and say, okay, well, what about this poor innocent little child, you know, surely she just wants a better life, won't you let her in? Yeah, of course we'll let her in. Well, what about her family? And then what about this other child and this other child? And it's like, before you know it, you're just letting people in on humanitarian grounds, here, there, everywhere. You can't stop people from coming in. There's no moral basis to stop them because, well, you let them in and you let them in. Basically, what's happening to the West is we're letting our empathy, through our empathy, we're losing our countries bit by bit by bit. What we've got to do as Westerners, as Europeans, as white people, as Australians, as British, stop having empathy every time you see something like this happen. Like the only way that we're actually going to stop this is something that I probably shouldn't say on YouTube. How do you think you're going to stop a migrant invasion? Like you're going to create a serious disincentive for them to come here. That's the only way this is ever going to stop. So don't feel sorry for these people. they like this is the problem.
Well, this is why the Morrison government is so determined to repeal the Medivac laws, because apparently I heard the statistic is 1 in 5 on Nauru has been able to come over for medical treatment, and of course, once they're here, they can't be returned. And
I've got a much better way to stop all of this. Torpedo the boats.
Well, the boats aren't coming anymore, but it's the backlog of what Labor, Kevin Rudd and Julia Gillard let in. But some of the ones who are coming here, they're actually refusing medical treatment when they're here.
Yeah.
So
basically, they were lying.
And there was a case where it was an adult girl, like she was around 18, 19, but she still needed a male father to come on over. So even though he wasn't sick, they wanted to bring him over as well to accompany the girl so she could receive medical treatment. And of course, Christina Keneally, she's lobbying for the ISIS brides to be brought back because she thinks
because they miss Vegemite. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
and
apparently they said, "Oh, we want to whack another shrimp on the Barbie. How's you?"
And
fair suck of the sauce bottle. Yeah. Apparently that's what they said. Yeah, we've got exclusive footage of that.
And the children, of course, are innocent. They wouldn't have been brainwashed at all, even though the left are pretty good at brainwashing children back here about climate change.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. So this is what I'm talking about. We've got to basically have no sympathy. It's us and it's them. You can either keep having sympathy for these people and lose your country bit by bit by bit over the next 100 years, or you can actually say, do you know what? This is our people and it's their people, and we want this country for our people. And you've got to make that decision.
We've got another super chat on entropy. I put the link in the YouTube live chat again, so please head on over there. We're going to be going for a little bit longer, so you've got time to come on over and help the show along. So Bieber Anti-Bullying has sent through $5. Thank you. For Tim to read, libertarianism is for incels, and if you're a good, upstanding fascist, it's only a matter of time before women start asking you to treat their pussy like the Oklahoma City building. Well, I don't quite get that.
I think that's the best super chat we've ever had. That's amazing.
So what? Is he saying that pussies are like bombs or something?
Yeah, you're going to explode their pussies, yeah.
I'd never heard of that before. And going back to Brucey's boy's question.
Kevin's boy should have said that. Yeah.
We did track down that.
This is really interesting.
So Linux Cartoon criticising mother's use of Instagram and social media. So there's a mother with... Mummy was busy on Instagram when beautiful Bubby fell out of the pram and lay on the path unseen and alone, wishing that he was loved like a phone. And so obviously this has triggered a lot of... Because there's a lot of modern women, and this seems to be the trend on... Do you know that Mamma Mia blog run by Mia Friedman?
Oh, yeah.
They basically treat like their children as like hood ornaments to like show off to people.
Yes.
And they want to treat their children as like their friends rather than actually mother them. And of course, Instagram, it's about faking it. Instagram is all about projecting a fake image of yourself that I'm living the coolest lifestyle that ever lived, when of course most of them deep down are miserable and anxious and depressed.
I'm really glad that is it, how do you pronounce his name?
Lunig.
Oh, it is Lunig.
Lunig. Well, that's how I'm pronouncing it.
Yeah. I'm really glad that he's done that. For most of his career, he's been a wanker, but every now and then he just has a moment of clarity. It's something that I actually try to make sure that I do. Like when I'm out in public, and there are kids around, I actually try to make sure that I'm not looking at my phone, because when you're with kids, you're imprinting the entire time, and so they learn from what mummy does. So mummy's always looking at her phone, and so the kids are always going to be looking at their phone too. Like I've seen situations where the parents are out with the kids and the parents are looking at the phone and the kids are looking bored. The parents should be like talking.
Well, they just give the kids iPads now to play whatever on them. I've seen that in restaurants.
Yeah. Well, yeah. In public, that's a no-no. Like there's kids can use technology and stuff, but it's like people have got to be really aware of what they're imprinting on the kids, and so good on him.
Well, it's been a hot day in Melbourne today, and I recall the last few summers there's had to be public awareness campaigns for parents not to leave their children in hot cars.
They're always going to be stupid people. That's been
well,
around for years.
that is like one of the worst actions of child abuse, even if you do it by accident. There'd probably be a lot of people who'd be worried about also leaving their phones in the car to melt. And obviously, I would say that, well, melted phone is replaceable, but obviously, well, a child is a life. It's a human life. So if it's a hot day, take your child out wherever you go. Like, we cannot stress that enough. Otherwise, you deserve to lose your children forever and go to jail. Have we got much left to discuss here? Oh yes, the Chile protest, because they're upset about inequality in Chile, and what's the public transportation hikes. That's what's triggered these riots, which have, I think, killed 19 people.
19 now?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Basically, what this shows is that getting rid of the communist leadership of a country just means that you just hold back the tide just for a little bit of time. These people have been trying for basically since 1973. These people live in 1973, and they will not stop until they've got communism again. They've been pushing this thing. They for free education. Like, they just want free education. They don't say why. Well, they do say why, but they just want free education. So they've been having rolling strikes for years and years and years.
I should correct you on that. It's not free education. It's free brainwashing by the state. Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah. We've got another super chat from Peter V. Thank you very much for $6.69 Canadian dollars. I wonder when Justin Trudeau will withdraw it'll be illegal to use the Canadian dollar to give it to Rebel News or
finance the far right.
Yes, yeah. Back in Clan World, grid girls turning into fat, hairy lesbos. The P in LGBTIP, Wims having extra bits on top and can't get hitched. Please, can anyone spare a diaper and get it to Peter Grace?
Yeah, I always love your stuff, Peter V.
Do you want to read the question?
We've got more stuff. Well, we're contractually obligated to read these questions.
Oh, well, if it's an actual question, not a statement.
Yeah. Why is Peter Grace claiming fascism is the pants and he is the urine?
Well, that's the YouTube account claiming to be Peter Grace.
I'm pretty sure it's Peter Grace.
Well, he's been banned from YouTube, and the profile picture is a really old picture of Peter Grace. And
I've got news for you. All pictures of Peter Grace are pretty
Well, the
old.
one that he uses on his profile is him in art school from over half a century ago, I think.
It's all downhill from there.
And we saw the return of Mark Zuckerberg to Congress today because AOC and Elizabeth Warren, they don't like that their election rivals are able to make fake political ads on Facebook. Like, Facebook will run, like, if it's hate speech, they'll take it down, but if it's just a political ad which lies, they'll leave it up. And they're also quite triggered that Mark Zuckerberg, he had dinner with some dinners with some conservative people, and so they're now claiming that Facebook is going to turn conservative. And last week on Twitter there was the delete Facebook trending on Twitter.
My only question regarding Mark Zuckerberg is when he gets executed by the state, whether it's by the socialists themselves or whether it's by a renewed nationalist regime.
Well, Elizabeth Warren has said she wants to break up Facebook, and they're
going after him. They've never forgiven him for basically creating the system which people on the right were able to hijack and get Trump elected. He will never live that down. Well,
be my guest, Elizabeth Warren. If you want to destroy Facebook, then
again, it's like when they attack pornography. It's like, go for it, guys. Yeah.
You're all of a sudden realizing that this big, powerful corporate monopoly is not your friend.
Yeah, that's it. It's like, we told you so.
We're just past 10 o'clock.
We've had a good evening, I reckon.
Yes. Oh yes. The good news is that there's peace in the Middle East because Donald Trump moved the troops from northern Syria. There's been an existing, lasting ceasefire between Turkey
It
and
hasn't
Syria.
lasted, has it? Like the Turks are still fighting.
Well, it's not the all out Kurdish genocide that that everyone was saying was going to be on Trump's hands.
Saying that.
Yeah. It didn't. XYZ, you got into trouble for not.
Currently serving a Facebook ban for basically opposing U.S. interventionism in the Middle East. I thought Facebook were, I thought the left were like.
Yeah, send Elizabeth Warren and AOC an email.
Yeah. I think they didn't like my title. I was rather blunt about the Kurds, those unworthy allies.
Yeah.
What I think is going to be great about the US.
Oh, breaking.
No. What I think is going to be great about the US pulling out of the Middle East is because people are going to find out that it's not US imperialism that makes the world a dark and dangerous place. The United States has been pushing a neocon agenda for quite some time, and we need to stop that. But the world has always been dangerous and full of war, and it always will be, with or without the United States. And there's a part of me like, I'm not a neocon anymore, but there's a part of me which still wants to say told you so.
Well, there's breaking news that the 39 people found dead on that truck in England, they were found to be, or believed to be, Chinese nationals, 31 men and 8 women. So it was apparently 25 degrees in, it was supposed to be a chiller truck, but it was 25 degrees, which doesn't sound that warm, but obviously if you're not allowed to get out because then you'll be spotted by the border patrol, then yes, you're going to be in there for a long time.
Do we have a photo of the lorry driver?
He's Northern Irish.
Yeah, they say Northern Irish, but his first name is Mo.
Did you hear that Northern Ireland, they got abortion and same-sex marriage imposed on them by the rest of the United Kingdom?
I keep saying we can't vote our way out of this, people.
Well, it's the Northern Irish backstop, which is the tricky part of the Brexit deal, and it's now a week until Brexit Day, and
were you able to check that on your watch?
we don't know whether the UK will leave with a deal or without a deal, or the EU will grant an extension. But I reckon the UK House of Commons, they're going to try and make it so that they can imprison Boris Johnson for breaking their law, even though by not voting for his deal, they broke the law.
Yes. Oh, this is why I was saying last week, like, Boris Johnson should basically act before they do. He should basically get the army on side and just arrest the whole traitorous bunch of them. The thing about Brexit as well, I keep making this point. There's this whole fuss over whether they have a deal or whether they have no deal. I love, this is my little tangent here, in the Back to the Future 3, where they're sending the DeLorean along the train track, being pushed by the train, trying to get it up to that magical number of 88 miles per hour. And
was it actually 88?
It was actually 88. It's magnificent.
They'll have to.
They'll have to edit that. Yeah.
Yes, because they're editing music now to get rid of the sexist lyrics.
Oh my God.
Like Rolling Stones songs.
Wow, I believe you. Wow.
Yes.
So, in the 1885 or whenever it is that like the film is set, they're going along this train track towards a big canyon, and there's no bridge over the canyon. And so Marty's like, well, the train's just going to push us into the canyon. But then the doc says to him, look, you got to think fourth dimensionally. In 1985, you'll be sent to a period where there is a bridge over that canyon, and you'll be able to go over the canyon. Same thing works with Brexit. People are worried, well, what if we exit the European Union with no deal? So what? If you exit the European Union, in several years' time, there will be no European Union. because when Great Britain gets out of the European Union and all the other countries who want to leave the European Union realize that Great Britain have been able to get out, and they've been fine. All these consequences everybody's warning about, all the doomsday scenarios never happened. All these other countries are going to get out, and the European Union is going to collapse. That's why the European Union is fighting so hard to stop Great Britain leaving. Well, it's a one domino game.
Well, it's also been the UK's own elected politicians in the House of Commons.
Yes,
the people
because they're traitors on the side of the globalists in the European Union.
Yes, I mean, Jeremy Corbyn, he was a National Socialist all his life. He obviously supports a sovereign Britain, but he's been cucked by his party with the globalist Blairites, basically making him a globalist puppet now. And of course, you've got the conservative Tory traitors as well.
Yes.
And then you've got the Liberal Democrats who are now want to cancel Brexit.
Yeah.
That's their explicit policy.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, just find a way to get out. Get the army in, get rid of all the traitors in the parliament, get out of the European Union. The European Union will not be a problem in several years' time.
We've got 2 questions here, but I think we should only read out the top question here from the Republic of Kyrgyzstan on entropy.
What have we got?
Yeah. Or can you read it? I won't. I'll actually. Yes.
Can I say this in a chipmunk voice?
Yes, there.
I can't read that.
I don't get this reference.
Yeah, that's why I can't read it. I'm just like, why?
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I think we'll call it now because
it's just gonna get more and more.
Yes. Yeah. I just wanted to share before we wrap up for tonight, because Gab.com, which is definitely my favorite free speech social media platform. I also like Telegram as well. That's great as well. All the patriots and nationalists who've either been banned or decided to self-delete from Facebook and Twitter have moved over to those platforms. They've now launched Gab.com. It's basically a news aggregator called Gab Trends, basically their version of Drudge Report, which hopefully the XYZ and the Unshackled can get on there, because that would be very popular. Because you can no longer, of course, Google things or Wikipedia things. So this is an excellent thing. Andrew Tilbury's the greatest free speech spurg with a lot of money that's ever existed.
Hail Andrew Torber.
So make sure you check out it's trends.gab.com, and of course don't forget to follow all us there, gab.com/theunshackled, and myself, gab.com/Tim Wilms. Matty's there with gab.com/Matty's Modern Life.
Check out XYZ, you'll find us on Gab, and just come straight to our site, www.xyz.net.au. Also check out Making Australia Grouse Again. He's awesome.
On Gab.
Yes.
Yes.
On Gab.
It was one of those ones which started out as a boomer meme page and just went...
Yeah, basically XYZ started out as a boomer meme page as well. Like we started off, we were conservatives and libertarians, and then we just made like the rational transition from idiots to nationalists. So, yeah.
And of course, the Unshackled has a Telegram channel. So does Matty. You need to get an XYZ channel.
We'll get on Telegram.
Because you can only, I think, you can actually report things on Telegram, but only for things like pornography and child abuse. So, like for legit illegal stuff, there's no report for hate speech function on Telegram.
Like sticks and stones, people.
It was made by some Russian dissident brothers.
Yeah, right.
They created VK.com, which was taken over by the Russian government, and so they created Telegram to make sure that no state could get a hold of that. So it's an encrypted messaging app. I'm surprised it's still out on the app stores.
Yeah, well, it's not secure, that's why. Like we were actually on there, and then we got off because we knew it wasn't secure. But hey, if there's an audience there, we'll go.
Well, Gab obviously is a public forum.
Yes.
Matty has a channel and a chat as well. So obviously you have free speech in the chat, but just be aware that it's public.
Yes.
Yes. Though Matty is quite public in his beliefs.
Yeah, that's why Matty's great. Like, he just says the truth, whatever he thinks, and he just says it. Yeah.
I'll see if there's any... that question's still there. Maybe send that question to Mark Collett on his next
Which one?
live stream. The one that I'm covering up.
Hang on,
No, I'm not going to show you it.
Ah.
Yeah, you won't be able to help yourself.
I promise I'll be good. I promise I'll be good.
No.
I promise I'll be good.
Yeah. After show treat. Okay. And don't wear a green shirt next week because
why?
This is why we're never going to have a green on the show.
It is. Is it? Like it's going.
It looks like a grey, but it's actually green.
I look psychedelic. It's awesome.
Well, also the Green Conservative Party, the National Party, which has green in its colours, you can pretty much write that party off as well because they've overseen a drought in New South Wales and federally they're supposed to represent the farmers, and what have they done for them? Nothing.
I like green and gold. It's Australia. Patriotism. Yeah, Australia.
And of course, keep visiting the unshackled.net. Even though myself and Steele, we're busy producing our own programs, Wilms Front and Detonation, we still are publishing articles on the Unshackled as often as we can. Lucas Roses, he's always publishing excellent exposés on the far left. So make sure you check those out. He's the only one that bothers to call out these far left Marxist, socialist anarchists. So make sure you check out his stuff. There's been a lot of interest this week in Martin Hartwig's article that he published last month. I had him on the show, my Wilms Front program last night to discuss it. The Jeffrey Epstein lookalike that was spotted on his island with a drone.
Yeah, that was kind of that was kind of funny. That one.
And it turns out, remember that his Madame Gildersleeve Maxwell, she was spotted at an LA burger joint.
Gasoline.
Yes, but they've been discovered to be photoshopped images.
Really?
So nobody knows where Jeffrey Epstein or Gildersleeve Maxwell are.
Really?
Mainstream media is not talking about it anymore.
Are they definitely photoshopped?
Well, they had, it was, I think, Inside Edition, because Gildersleeve Maxwell is a celebrity socialite. They had a Photoshop expert who looked at all the inconsistencies.
Yeah, right, okay. Who did you say looked at that?
A Photoshop expert.
On what channel?
Inside Edition.
On mainstream media?
Yes.
On mainstream media.
Yeah.
Mainstream media declared those images photoshopped. And who do you believe?
Well, nobody's seen Gildersleeve Maxwell since. I mean, if you spot Gildersleeve Maxwell in public, I think you should call the cops on her.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, like, because she actually poses for the photo. If you see the photo, she's just, like, holding the burger like this. I mean, if you're on the run, like, are you really going to be posing like, I'm at this burger joint in a public place in Los Angeles?
Yeah, MJ is saying there's some story she wants us to talk about, but I don't see it.
Anyway, I've got my Wilms Front program on tomorrow night. I'm not going to do a show this Sunday because I'm going to see the Joker
okay, we'll do MJ.
movie. So I'm finally getting around to see it because, of course, you can't see it.
I'm laughing at the chat, sorry.
White males can't see it alone, so.
The Joker.
I've got a chaperone who's going to identify as a woman.
I'm not going to watch that because I do not want to give any money to Hollywood.
But if you don't give it to them on this occasion, then they won't make movies like this again.
Oh, there's also a strong argument that they've basically made it. All they've done is had the absence of a lot of their usual PC rubbish to make a lot of people on the right think that it's a movie for them, and so they've basically made one of the high, like, hasn't it broken records on
Yeah. So why not make more of those?
Because it was genius, because they basically made an accelerationist movie.
Well, I hope that they are still capitalists in Hollywood and take the hint that there's a lot more right-wing people who want to see movies about reality and not some Hollywood liberal soapbox. Yeah, so tomorrow night I'm doing a double feature on Newsfront. I'm having Alexander Cameron, who's one of the other Carnage houseboys. He's just come back from China, so I'm going to be asking him whether he's a Chinese agent, and he's also a fan of
an agent of the CIA,
and he's also a fan of Tulsi Gabbard, so he could also be a Russian agent as well. So I'm going to interrogate him.
Yes, people should know that basically all of XYZ's funding comes from Russia. We started out as a Russian propaganda outlet. Like, our whole purpose was to sow division in the United States during 2016, and they haven't shut us down yet, so we just keep pumping it out.
And then afterwards I've got Ricardo Bossi on to talk about the launch of his Australia One A1 party, basically asking him how you're going to succeed when everyone else before you has failed.
Is he going to go, yeah, it's because I'm good at what I do?
Well, you'll find out tomorrow night. And I believe that Dia Beltran's got one more debate live stream. She's not in the chat tonight, so she can't type what it's about. So, but that'll be at 9 p.m. Melbourne time. Of course, Wilmsfront tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Melbourne time, Tim Wilms YouTube channel. And of course, on all of these different YouTube channels, whether it be my channel, the Uncuckables channel, Matty's channels, which is Matty Rose Live and Matty's Modern Life, the Rational Rise TV, not only have you got to subscribe, but click the bell to allow notifications, because YouTube doesn't, it seems that delays notifying you when we go live. Make sure also you give a thumbs up to all of our videos and leave a comment below, because that also helps us fight the algorithmic manipulations, and also share it where you can on various social media to get the message out. Have I left any reminders out?
I think we're done.
Yes, I believe that we're done. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Always appreciate the chat.
The archive of episodes is available on the Uncuckables.com. We have a donation button there, so if you didn't give us a super chat tonight, you can on the Uncuckables website.
Apparently, we need to get Enoch Powell on.
Well, resurrect him.
Yeah, that's it, pretty much. Yep.
And you can also subscribe to the podcast. We've got the links to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, and Stitcher. And I think we're on a whole bunch of other podcasting, your preferred platform there. So there's plenty of ways to catch up on the Uncuckables, including the live replay there. And James Fox Higgins has also got the archive up on rationalrise.tv, which is the free speech, self-hosted media website. So we've always got a making sure we have a insurance policy.
Good. Yes,
all right.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Thank you once again for tuning in. We've had another large and interactive audience. Your viewing is very much appreciated, and we will see you on this show again next Thursday.
Thanks all.